Good morning, everyone. Today's topic is probability in statistics. So, it is just introduction about the probability topic. What is probability, and how we can use this probability in statistics, and what are the uses of probability, and what is the clear meaning of probability in statistics. So, probability means we all know that in our general terminology also we can say it as a chance. Probability means it's just like a chance. And this probability was originated in 17th century and has become one of the most fascinating and debatable subjects in the recent years. So probability has gained a lot of importance, and the mathematical theory of probability has become the basis for statistical applications. So in the areas of management and space technology, and in so many areas, we are using this probability method. So most of the people use this probability in their day-to-day lives without being aware of it. Like we can say that it may rain today. Means we are just saying it may rain today means that there is a chance. There is a chance it may rain today. May not happen. That we don't know. So that only probability. And also sometimes we can say that probably I'll continue with the same job. So just we are using the probability word, and we are using the word chance in our day-to-day lives also without being aware of it. And also we can say that India might win the cricket series against Australia. So like that, some of the examples we are using the usage of probability in day-to-day life. So this probability is very important in our statistics, and we can say that the probability of an event is the ratio of the number of ways in which the event can occur to the total number of possibilities. So probability means it is just a measure of how likely it is. Means the some event will occur. For instance, we can say that what is the probability that India will win the cricket match today? It is a simple case of probability. So, in organizations, managers often have to take some decisions under very tough situations, under some uncertain situations also. So, this theory of probability reduces the uncertainty of decision making situations. So, today, the concept of probability are widely used by business managers for effective decision making. So we can see that, uh, and also the what is probability and what are the concepts of probability in this video, and also we can say that various business decisions in our real life are made under situations when a decision maker is very uncertain. Means as to we can say that what will happen after the decisions are made. Okay, see, decision making means what? First of all, why we need to take a decision making, how we can take the decision making. So the first step for to take the decision making is what? To take a decision making, first of all, we need to decide. Once we decide, then we will start taking decisions, and we will make them to follow up by decision making. So first of all, we will decide to make a decision making. So in a business environment also, the business people, if they want to take a decisions, and under some situations when the decision maker is very uncertain as to what will happen after the decisions are made. But by using of this theory of probability is of great help to all such areas, like it enables the person to make educated guesses. Means either full facts are not known, or there is uncertainty about the outcome. So whatever the formulas are there in probability and techniques were developed by the person Bernoulli, by Jacob Bernoulli and De Moore. So and also Thomas Bayes and Joseph Lagrange. So they developed some of the techniques and the formulas for the statistics in probability. And later, Pierre Simon and Laplace unveiled all these early ideas and compiled the first general theory of probability. And there are we have been the written on probability, and the controversies are concerned with this some of the concepts whatever they develop about the probability theory, but it is still continuing. So the concept of probability was used by gamblers during the early days in games of chances. We know that in our childhood onwards we are playing like snake and ladder games and dice games especially. So by throwing a die or drawing a card from the deck or tossing a coin, so means by doing this we are just doing gambling. So in our olden days also they will use it by the gambler during that early days. So in that games, when we tossing a coin, we don't know head may come or tail may come. So there is a probability head may come and there is a probability tail may come. So we don't know that. There is a chance it may come or not. So like that, these are the some of the example how the concept of probability was used by the gamblers in our olden days onwards. In these games of chance, there is an uncertainty regarding the face of the die that will appear in a throw, or the card what will appear in a draw, or the face of a coin that will appear when it is tossed, like that. So there is an uncertainty concerning the outcome of any particular throw or any particular drawing. So there is a predictable long term or short term outcomes. So we may not conclude that. So, for example, if a die is thrown many times, experimental studies have shown that the probability of a number to appear in 1/6 means we know that the die has 6 faces. So, in that experiment, when we throw the die so many times, there is a probability of a number to appear how many times sixth number will come. How many number of times you are throwing a die. So, in how many times sixth number is coming. So, what is the probability that how many times you throw the die, sixth number will come. So, like that, there is a chance in sixth time or eighth time or third time, it may repeat when we throw the die to come for the sixth number in a die. So, like that. So, the concept of probability will be happened. So, the probability is the branch of mathematics concerning numerical description of how likely an event is to occur, or how likely it is that the proportion is true. So the probability of an event is a number between 0 and 1, means true or false, either or not. Like where roughly speaking 0 indicates impossibility of the event and 1 indicates certainty. So like that we can give the conclusions when we are going to do the problems. In the coming videos we will see the problems. So the probability we can describe as when 0 indicates the when means 0 indicates the impossibility of that event and 1 indicates the certainty of that. So what is the definition of probability? So simply we can define the probability. Probability is a number that reflects the chance or likelihood that a particular event will occur. So particular event occur, we are not saying definitely the event may occur. There is a chance or likelihood that a particular event will occur. So these probabilities can be expressed as the proportions that range from 0 and 1, and they can also be expressed as percentages ranging from 0% to 100% also. Like that also we can define. So the probability in our day-to-day life, we can see that we can say the probability word as a chance also. It's a very commonly used terms. Sometimes we can use to say probably Mr. X come for taking his class to do. So probably you are right. So like these sentences we are using in our day-to-day life. So that's only the clear meaning of what is probability. So all these terms, possibility and probability, conveying the same meaning. But in statistics, probability has certain special connotations, unlike in layman's view. That's it only. We need to check and consider what is that certain special, what are those certain special connotations. So this probability, it denotes the possibility of the outcome of any random event. So the possibility of there is a possibility of that outcome we can choose by following that event. So the meaning of this term is to check the extent to which any event is likely to happen. The same example we can say if you flip a coin in the air, what is the possible of getting head or a tail? So the to answer this question is based on the number of possible outcomes. So the possibility is either head or tail will the outcome. So the probability of a head to come as a result is 1 by 2. So like that we will denote the probability of getting head or tail when tossing a coin. So the probability is the measure of the likelihood of an event to happen, and also it measures the certainty of the event. So the formula for the probability, the simple formula we can say that P of E equal to number of favorable outcomes by number of total outcomes. First we will choose the favorable outcomes by total outcomes like average how we are doing. So P of E equal to N of E means number of favorable outcomes by the number of total outcomes N of S. So N of E denotes the number of event favorable to an event E, and N of S means total number of outcomes. So this is a simple formula to check the probability of an event. So you can see that what are the uses of probability? So the probability has means we have having many uses in life. We can use it in many fields like in genetics, drug testing, market forecasting, and finance. And in marketing also, so many areas we are using that. For example, if we have a drug test for cancer and a person with cancer, we don't need to do the test every time. We would take the test one time. If we calculate the probability that the person has cancer and it is high, we don't need to do another test. So, in that case, and also we can say that probability is very widely used in finance, mathematics, and insurance areas also. It is used to determine the a range of value for a stock price, bond price, or other financial instruments by evaluating the outcomes for different possible future states and computing the probability that each state will occur. If a stock is selling at $100 per share and the possible value range is $90 to $110, so then the probability that the stock will be between $90 to $110 is 50%. So the more narrow this bandwidth is, that is the closer the possible values are to each other. So by following this uses, we know that in our mobile also we are having some apps, and in those apps we are some people do the stock business. In that stock business means, for example, if they invested 500 rupees to get for 600. So he invested 500 rupees. So there is a chance he may get 600 or he may lose that 500 rupees. So there is a probability he may win to get his profit, or so there is a probability that he may lose his money. So like that also we can, in those type of situations also they will follow this statistics in the probability of statistics. So the applications of probability. So this theory has been applied in many fields. As we know, it is commonly used in games of chances, such as the lottery and the gaming also. In the lottery, it is important to make sure the probabilities of winning are as high as possible. So the more number of tickets are sold means which will increase the number of people who have won. So increasing the chances that someone wins. So this probability theory is also commonly used in gambling. So the probability applications can be found in almost anything that does not have a definite outcome. Means and there are many different ways to use the probability in real life. And also, there are many applications of probability in the real life in things like sports, where it can be applied to determine whether or not a team will win the game, or in the financial statements like stocks, and as well as everyday life decisions like what route to take on one way home, or whether, and also in weather predictions for the next week. Like in so many areas, we are following the probability and we are applying the probability. So the probability means it is starting with an animal and figure out what footprints it will make. Just simple example, I'm saying the difference between the probability and the statistics. So the probability is starting with an animal and figuring out what footprints it will make. Whereas in statistics is seeing a footprint and guessing the animal. In the statistics, what we'll do, we are having the data. With that data, we are doing the statistical analysis. But whereas in the probability, we are having an animal and figuring out what footprints it will make. So this is the simple difference between how we will follow the statistics and how we will use this probability. And we can see that the probability and the difference between the probability and the statistics. So the probability, we can see the given model and predicted data will be there in the probability, whereas in the statistics, we are having the data, given data, and we will predict the model. In our earlier videos also, we already did statistical correlations and regressions. So in that, we are having the data of x values and y values. With that data, we are predicting the model and we are analyzing that data to get the conclusion. But whereas in the probability, we are having some model. With that model, we are predicting the data. Suppose we are having a coin, that is a given model coin, and once we flip the coin, what is the outcome? So we don't know. So that is the predicted data. We may guess that how many number of times if we throw the coin randomly, we will select the sum of the outcomes. If we throw the coin 10 times, in that 10 times randomly we can choose maybe 5 times or 4 times head may come, like that. So this is the difference between the probability and the statistics. And also we can see that the probability in the statistics, given some information in your hand, what is in the pail. So this is about statistics. We are having a information. We are having information in your hand and what is in the pail. Whereas in the probability, we are given the information in the pail, what is in your hand. So information is there. Information is already there, but what is there in your hand? But in the statistics, we are given an information is there in your hand. You are having an information, but what is in the pail? So with the data, we will conclude that answer. But in the probability, with the given information, we need to guess what is there in your hand. So that this is a just difference between the statistics and the probability. And now we'll see what are the basic probability concepts. So we need to definitely know about these are certain terms we are definitely following in the probability chapter. These concepts are very important. And in general way, we know the meaning of these all concepts names like this experiment, random experiment, outcomes, events. We know the meaning, but in the probability, how we'll use these concepts. Experiment. Experiment means any operation that results in two or more outcomes is called an experiment. So we know that experiment in our physics, chemistry, or we are doing some of the experiment. And then we are guessing the answer by doing the experiment. So there will be two or more outcomes. So we'll choose one. So that is an experiment. For example, rolling an unbiased die is an experiment where the number that is to appear, the face of the die is unpredictable and subject to change also. And another example we can say for the flipping a coin is an experiment where the outcome head or tail is unpredictable. So those are the examples for the experiment. And next one, random experiment. So it's a well-defined process of observing a given chance of the given data through a series of trials that are finite or infinite, and each of which leads to a single outcome. It is known as a random experiment. For example, drawing a card from a pack of 52 cards. So this is also a chance of phenomenon with only one outcome. And drawing a ball from a bag containing a given number of red, blue, and white balls. This is also a chance of phenomenon with only one outcome. So random selection in that experiment. And also we can say that this random experiment is different from experiments under the controlled conditions. For example, we can say experiment in a physical laboratory. Because the observations in a random experiment involves chances of phenomena and is not performed under controlled conditions. So that is about random experiment. Next, possible outcomes. So this concept of possible outcomes, we can say it as the result of a random experiment is called an outcome. So whatever the experiment it is, or any from the random experiment, we can say whatever the outcome you got, that is a random experiment, not an experiment. Random experiment. Whatever the outcome you receive, that is a possible. So that is the outcome. For example, picking a card from a pack of 52 cards and getting an ace or jack or queen or king, it's an outcome. So that is possible outcome. Next, what is event? Event is one or more possible outcomes of an experiment. Or else we can say that a result of a trial or by observing the some observations like that. So the event is like uh, it is easy to denote the phenomenon that occurs with every realization of a set of conditions, that we can say it as an event. And next, elementary event. So elementary event, it has a simple event also. A simple event, it is a single possible outcome of an experiment, that we can say it as elementary event. So this simple event cannot be subdivided into a combination of other events. For example, throwing a die and of getting a 6. It's a simple event. Next, compound event. Compound event means when two or more occur in connection with each other. So then their simultaneous occurrence is called a compound event. For example, we can say when we roll two dice, then the event 6 on either the first or second die is a compound event. And next, favorable event. Favorable event means the number of cases favorable to an event in a trial is the number of outcomes that result in the happening of a particular event. For example, we can say that when we are drawing a card from a pack of 52 cards, the number of favorable cases for drawing an ace is 4, and for drawing a spade or 13, and for drawing a black card or 26, like that. We can check the favorable events. And in another case, we can say when we are throwing of 3 die, the 3 die means the number of cases of favorable to getting the sum is we can denote as 112 or 121 or 211. So that is a 3 die. So there are totally 3 favorable outcomes when you throw a 3 die. So like that, favorable event will be the one of the concept in the probability. And also we are having mutually exclusive events also. Mutually exclusive means two events are said to be mutually exclusive or incompatible if the happening of any one of the data of the happening to all others. Both the events cannot happen simultaneously in a single trial. Or else we can say the happening of one prevents the happening of the other and vice versa. So that we can say it as a mutually exclusive. So both cannot be up at the same time. And also we can say in throwing a die, the events of getting each of the six faces numbered 1, 2, 6 are mutually exclusive. Since if any one of these faces comes, the possibility of others in the same trial is ruled out. So there is mutually exclusive if the happening of any one of the event. So these events cannot happen simultaneously in a single trial. So like that. So this is the mutual exclusive events. And next one is dependent and independent events. So we know that dependent and independent events. Dependent means we know, independent means we know. Two or more events are said to be independent if the happening of an event is not affected by the supplementary knowledge concerning the occurrence of any number of the remaining events. So this question of dependence or independence of an event is relevant with experiments or consecutive and not simultaneous. For example, we can see tossing an unbiased coin. Unbiased coin. A trial is not affected by the result of the previous or subsequent trials. So the events therefore are independent. And in card example, we can say if a card is drawn from a pack of 52 cards, they are well shuffled cards, then only 51 cards are left. Now, if a second card is drawn by replacing the first card, or is what you pick the card, then the pack again has 52 cards and the trials are independent. But if the first card is not replaced back, then the composition of the pack stands changed and the probability of the second card is affected. So thus the event is dependent on the previous trial. So dependent and independent events also will follow in the probability concepts. And we are having so many types of concepts in the probability. We can use like complementary events, equally likely events, and exact events like that. By following the simple examples, we can and also by doing some problems about each concepts, then we will get to know what type of event it is. So next we'll see about what is sample space. Sample space means the set of all possible outcomes of a probability experiment is called the sample space. So if an experiment represents tossing a coin once, the sample space represents all possible outcomes of the experiment consisting of either or not. For example, we can consider the sample space of head and tail, HT. If the experiment represents tossing the coin twice if you toss a coin, so the sample space we can write it as head head or head tail head and tail tail. These are the outcomes we may guess and those only we can mention. These are the possible outcomes of a probability of that given experiment that we can call it as the sample space. And also if we tossing a single die once is an experiment, so the sample space are 1 to 6 numbers. So representing all possible outcomes. If the outcome is all possible even numbers, then 2, 4, 6. If the outcome is all for odd numbers means the sample space will be 1, 3, 5. So the experiment can have different sample spaces based on types of all possible expected outcomes. So that is about sample space. And next one, event. Event means any subset of the sample space is called an event. We can see the experiment representing a single toss coin. The sample space will be 1 to 6, or all the possible outcomes which are even represent the event. So event is denoted by the capital letter A, B, C or E like that. So the event representing event outcomes. Event outcomes may be even or odd. So what is sample event? An event that consists of a single outcome is called a simple event. So this is about probability. In short, we can say that this probability is the study of uncertainty or a chance. It can be defined as in any branch of mathematics dealing with the randomness and uncertainty in concrete situations. So there are numerous applications of probability in practical life. So it is generally used when one wants to know how likely a particular event will occur. The last and the final example, I can say it as a when a customer at a bookshop wants to buy a book, they may calculate the likelihood of them buying that book or not based on their previous buying habits. So, and what have you suggested, and eventually decide if buying a specific book is worth it. Like that. So, in this video, some a number of examples I explained about what is probability, and in some of the concepts how the probability we are using by following the dice example and the coin example I had explained. So in covered about the introduction to probability and how this probabilities came into statistics and definition of probability and the examples of probability and the probability formula what we use P of E equal to N of E by N of S and the uses of probability and the applications of probability and the difference between the probability and statistics, and also we had seen the basic probability concepts and sample space, event and simple event. So this is about the probability. Thanks for watching.